time for the healing of the wounds has come. The time to build is upon us. We have at last achieved our political emancipation.
I had to give a history of this country. History has chapters, painful chapters, but it is history. Now, I always avoid giving the details of the history, but it's not necessary.
I am an African. I know what it signifies when race and color are used to determine who is human and who subhuman. Killers who have no sense of the worth of human life, rapists who have absolute disdain for the women of our country. All this I know, and I know to be true because I'm an African.
I kicked, I screamed, I cried. It was the least I could do.
Mama diege nam diweli milambo yenyani zotwa. The gun has been shot to run the race not to be racist, renovate the races to kill racism. Oh, kill the colors, combine one color. Oh, please don't confuse. Confusion brings no vision, reason, no education. Educated, please raise education versions. The vision not to break the virgins, meaning leaning on today's youth. Days past was passing, lying, telling company closing. Oh no, he's destroying my vision to grow and crawl. My vision motivated. Oh please, don't destroy, employ them youth employment, the government in parliament, no deliveries, the president is playing games in economy. Oh no, I'm scared that we tend to be predators, meaning vultures. I thought you were a friend, but you were a traitor. I lift my hands to reach for hope. You grabbed my hands, you squashed my fingers, and I hit the ground. I thought you were a friend, but you were a traitor. When days are dark, friends are few, but you were always there for me. You were my step leader. I climbed up and down trying to accomplish what I don't know till you break, and I hit the ground. The gun has been shot to run.
It's 7 minutes after 8 p.m. Welcome back to Power Life. Ending the silence, she joins me in the powerhouse to share her story and to fill us in. She is one of the people whom I could never forget.
I am Mandisa, and my second name is Matikani. I've been living here for like 23 years now. I'm 25 years old. I came here when I was 2 years old. These old houses, there were people who used to live here way back, the Afrikaners people who used to stay here. There were no shacks, so we are the people who came here with building shacks in the neighborhood because we had no place to stay at. And then we started making this our hometown. Being a child living in Kliptown, it's quite a bit tense in terms of your home, your surrounding people. I personally grew up not being exposed to a lot of things, but a lot of things I've learned in the street. What makes me angry about society is there's too much ignorance. I'm lesbian, and that's how I identify myself. Why does it have to be who you are in order to be heard? Why does it have to be what you have in order to be heard? Why shouldn't it be to be any other normal person's regular right to be heard?
I. Easy, Tiger. Now again, I. Easy, Tiger. My name is Mandisa Matigan. I'm all the way from Kliptown, Soweto in Johannesburg. I'm going to take a seat. And when I stand up, we all stand up. So we all sit down. So we all understand. And we all sit down. Let's stand up. My ladies and gentlemen, let's sit down. So we all understand and then we're going to sit down. What people do not know is how much pain I kept inside me. What people do not know is that I'm suffocated by discrimination, by stigma. I'm suffocated by violence that have been happening in my life. What people do not know is that I've once tried to commit suicide because of discrimination. What people do not know is that I used to hate being me because of people calling me names, because of my HIV status. That's what people do not know. I do identify myself as an active youth, young woman who's active in the community. I feel like if only I could have spoken to someone and I would have made a change in someone's life. At the age of 6, that's where I got infected with HIV and AIDS.
What happened?
I was playing. The person who raped me was my front opposite neighbor. I used to look to him like my father. It was on a Saturday. I was with a girl named Nomfundo. We were playing outside and he came out. He came in the house and then he was like, we need a bit of sound. And then my grandmother was like, I don't like a noisy place. Then he was like, okay, I'll play radio at my place. He called me and Nomfundo and was like, come, I will show you guys how to switch it on. And then we went to his place. He looked at Nomfundo and then he looked at me. And then he told Nomfundo that I want to send you to go buy me cigarettes. And I want to show you how to switch on the radio. And then Nomfundo left and then he grabbed me, put a piece of t-shirt in my mouth. And then he started raping me, took off my panty and he started raping me. The saddest thing was that my hands were tied up. He was forcing his penis to go in and it couldn't go in. And then he started putting a bit of Vaseline on it. And he started raping me. Afterwards, when he was done, he told me I shouldn't say a word. If I can say a word to my family, he's gonna kill us all. As I was walking through, coming back home, my mom, she saw me walking out of there and she could see that I couldn't walk properly. She started screaming and asking, what's wrong? I couldn't talk, I couldn't say a word. I was doing my first grade at school. I didn't go back to school because I was very traumatized. I had to go through a lot of counseling and all that. He had a big body, I'm just 6 years old, and he was oppressing himself on me. It was so hard. Like, if I can just close my eyes, it would always come back to me. I could just see him all the time.
the history of apartheid in South Africa, the history of segregation, the history of the discrimination that happened in the public health system, all created a certain vulnerability for Black women in this country, which led to this high rates of infection. Not to mention the complexities around gender-based violence, particularly rape, and the power dynamics between men and women in society, not just at South Africa, but patriarchy and how that connected to Black women being particularly susceptible to being infected with HIV.
So how do you feel about the situation of young people in South Africa?
It's not good. And it's not benefiting to anyone. When I was in my first year in grade 10, a guy came into our house. They raped me. He pulled me out of the house and went to go rape me in the field. But when I went to the police station, no one did anything. It was like, okay, what happened? When I told them, and then it was like I was lying. Like the environment here, it's not building us and our self-esteem and everything, because every youngster and every child that's growing in this place, it's either they're gonna do drugs or robbery and rapes. There's no other way that you can say you can grow. There's nothing going forward.
Rape in this country is at the highest level. There's a silence around rape. A silence that shakes, a silence that silences. And even though we know that there are all these facilities that have been built up in these institutions, we know that it's hard for any victim to go out and report being raped, because we know that you go through a trial before your rapist goes through a trial.
It's like you're a second-class citizen. Actually, you're not even that. It's like you're not even human. My name is Sibolele Ntoni. I am a lead facilitator for Generation Ubuntu. I'm also a single parent of a 5-year-old. I'm a baby girl. I was born in Cape Town and I was raised here. So basically, she's just an educated Black sister with a conscious mind. That's Usibulele for you.
We just give them a positive place and they can be themselves and not be ashamed of HIV. But I think they get to a certain point where they like, you guys are preaching too much about HIV. I feel like it's defining me. But that's not the case. It's just that they want to ignore HIV. And we are not going to sit here and not intervene when these children are not adhering.
HIV is our disease. HIV is the Black people's disease. And I wondered to myself, if are people aware that there's HIV in America also? You know, but people just don't talk about that.
Mandisa has dedicated her life to sharing her experiences, to assisting young people who live with the challenges that she's grown up with. And she still resides in Kliptown, in the community where she was raped and contracted HIV at the age of 6. And it doesn't even end there, because you had another encounter with a male at some point in your life.
I was celebrating that 21st and 15 years living with HIV. I still don't know what happened. I felt my underpart not feeling so well. It's then where I had my mind coming back to me saying, on this day, something happened. That's the reason why I passed out, not knowing what happened to me. My drink was spiked. I still ask myself, how many were they? Who is he or who are they? I did a pregnancy test and I found out that I was pregnant. I started panicking. I started crying. The reason why I was crying was because I don't know how it happened. And I don't know who I'm gonna ask.
People have stayed inside once they know that they're HIV positive. They've locked themselves away from society. And then imagine a woman who's pregnant, who's HIV infected. and then you're really stigmatized.
I spent 274 days. It's always in my mind. 274 days behind closed doors. It was a very difficult situation that I went through. I personally had to swallow my pride when I gave birth to my son. I called home. My grandmother was like, his name is Samgelo, which is her first great-grandson. Samgelo means acceptance. She knew I didn't want him. She knew how I felt about the pregnancy, and that's the reason why she gave him the name of Samgelo. It was a situation that I've never thought I'd ever face in my life. You know, I've never thought I'd have a child in my life.
Let's go to Talent in Johannesburg. Good evening, Talent.
Let's say you get to know the guy who raped you. Are you going to be able to forgive him? Or what are you going to say? Or what are you going to do? The first thing that will come to your mind.
Great question. Thank you so much for calling in. Mandisa?
Thank you.
To answer that question,
is that something you've thought about?
My forgiveness is my son.
If I was your son 20 years from now, you know, what would you want to say to me? What would you want me to know? Who would you want me to be?
I would want you to know that I love you. I love you more than I love me. You're the most amazing thing that ever happened to my life. You are part of me. I gave birth to you, and regardless on how you came on earth, I love you so much. I can't promise you the world's millions, but I can promise to love you, to give you love, to support you, to be there for you whenever you need me. I want you to love and respect a woman. You're the reason why I wake up every morning, just to see you smiling, just to be around you. I love you more than just the word love. You mean more than the world to me. You're the best thing that ever happened to me.
As we know, many of the black women who have HIV did not go and sleep with someone. They were raped and they were coerced violently, and some with manipulation.
As a black woman, I honestly feel like you have two strikes against you, one being black and one being a woman. Being a woman in general is not easy. I feel like a woman is the only species that everyone gets to put down. We're like at the bottom of the food chain, and then being black again, it makes things even worse.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. Hi, Betty. I'm so happy to finally.
What you're doing and what Mandisa doing is that because, you know, for a while now, for about a decade or so, you know, the black female has been the one to say the most vulnerable to being infected with HIV. And a lot of times you don't hear from the black female on what that vulnerability looks like and what it feels like to live that experience of being susceptible to infection more than any other subgroup. And I think with the young people that are living with HIV, I think it's still difficult to speak about it without feeling ashamed.
I really do not know how we're gonna
intervene and stop this, but it has to stop. And I always tell my people that there are many things that we are fighting for. We can't be sitting here fighting each other about this disease. You know, we are busy facing fees must fall in South Africa. We are facing inequality. We are facing being discriminated on a daily basis, you know, where even if when I walk inside a room, my color speaks for me. I'm already judged. My intelligence is judged according to my skin tone before I even utter a word. I can't embrace my blackness without making people feel uncomfortable, which I don't understand. Just because I'm pro-black does not mean I'm anti-white. Exactly. Oh, I'm racist. You know, and I feel like we've been oppressed for so many years. Can you just let black girls just have their black girl magic? You know, can't we just like? Oh my God. I don't want my daughter to be angry. That is one of the things that I'm trying so hard. I don't want her to be angry. Because I am angry. I'm angry because my voice does not matter. I'm angry because my life in general doesn't matter to people. So I'm angry because I know that in society, I am nothing. So I don't want my daughter to be angry. I don't want her to be angry. I'm trying really hard to not rub off on her. But I feel like she has every right to be angry. She has every damn right to be angry. But I don't want her to feel like her life is based on anger, because sometimes I feel like that myself. But one thing I can tell you is that I don't regret being black. I don't hate being black. I love my blackness. And that's one thing that I want to rub off my daughter. I want her to embrace who she is, where she comes from. But I wouldn't change anything about my life. I'm perfectly fine where I am. Because this gives me the platform to start something big, something beyond me.
I think that's the amazing part about being a black woman, is that you never just fight for a black woman cause. You fight for black people, you fight for women, you fight for children. As much as we're the most vulnerable to some of the hardest social challenges, we're also the most resilient.
But one thing that they cannot take away from me, that's my voice. I will keep on talking. I will keep on voicing out what is right and what is wrong. And I will keep on making people feel uncomfortable until they stop mistreating people, until they start treating my people and myself with respect and dignity.
I calculate and simplify the equation of my education. I simplify the quality of my freedom. Freedom. Freedom, you are my speech. Freedom, you are my voice. The decisions I made have determined my destiny. Be a voice and not an echo. Be a voice and not an echo.